channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. That will really help my channel out. And I need to send my twins to college. So, I'm a twin mom to two girls, and they will be 5 months on the 12th. So time is just flying by. Today I wanted to talk about something that I haven't talked on at all, just because it's like pretty heavy. It's like a heavy conversation, but at least I haven't talked about it on the channel. I've like talked to my friends and my family about this, but I haven't talked about it on the channel. So I kind of wanted to talk about it today because my gosh, I couldn't like escape the feeling of like needing to share this. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about my experience with pre and postpartum depression and anxiety and how I'm dealing with it. So yeah, holy crap, my throat. There's a literal family of frogs in there. So I would probably say if you aren't 18, maybe click off this video. I'm gonna be talking pretty heavy about some stuff. So yeah, maybe you just wanna like proceed with caution. Oh my gosh. So again, if you're new here, then you might not know about how my pregnancy went. So if you're interested, make sure to check out my first 2 videos where I talk about my pregnancy and just kind of like what was going on during my pregnancy. So yeah, but I will briefly kind of talk about it. So I found out I was pregnant at 5 weeks, so pretty early. And I did not tell my husband for a couple days, so I found out on my own, just took a pregnancy test and then waited because I wanted him to like I wanted to film it and have like it just be really special and have it on film. So I waited a couple days to tell him, and I ended up going to the hospital that night. And this is where, like, if you're wondering why I went to the hospital, then check out my first 2 videos and I like go into detail about that. So went to the hospital and I had an ultrasound, like transvaginal ultrasound, and they told us that we were expecting twins. So that's when we found out at 5 weeks that we were having twins. So again, found out pretty early. Most people don't find out for like a couple more weeks. So yeah, we were pretty early to find out that we were having twins. The next week after that, so I was 6 weeks, I started to just get so sick. At first, I just had thrown up and was good. I went to work. I worked did I work 3 jobs at the time? Oh, I was working 2 jobs, but then going to school. So I had a lot going on. I worked full-time as a medical assistant, and then was a part-time student online, and then also was a part-time dance coach. Like after this, like I like kind of had a little episode where I threw up in the morning and I was fine. Like I was like, oh, this will be so easy. If this is morning sickness, easy peasy. Like I totally have this. And then a couple days later was like when it really hit. And so I would throw up like every maybe 15 minutes. The strain would like break blood vessels, and so I would throw up blood. So it just got so bad. So I was just so sick. I was constantly in IV therapy. I went to the hospital a few times, was admitted into the hospital over Thanksgiving. I stayed 3 days around Thanksgiving last year. So it just was a lot. Actually, the past 2 years I've spent in the hospital. This better not, like, I want to enjoy Thanksgiving this year. But anyway, the first time was because of blood clots, but this time was because I was so sick. I was so dehydrated, so malnourished. I was losing so much weight. I don't think I had eaten in like a couple days. So it just was so bad. So during that time when I was so sick, all I did was like lay in bed. And when you do nothing and you don't feel good, like nothing matters when you don't feel good. Everything just sounds awful to do. Showering, getting up, going to the bathroom, going to work, like getting dressed, everything just sounds bad because you feel bad. I went into a full-blown depression. And I have struggled with anxiety, very, very mild anxiety since high school. And I just thought anxiety and depression kind of went hand in hand. Like, I thought, like, if you have anxiety, you have depression. And sometimes it is that way. Sometimes you can have both. But this was depression. Like, it was nothing I'd ever felt before. And it was very scary and awful. I was depressed while I was pregnant, and I completely thought I was alone and that I was already a bad mom. It was a really, really dark time, and all I did was just lay around and I wouldn't eat, and oh my gosh, it was awful. I felt just like the worst person that, someone who gets pregnant and is like blessed with pregnancy and is blessed with 2 babies and just is depressed. It was really hard to talk about. Really hard to talk about. And I went to therapy a few times. And then I was put on a medication. I never was suicidal, and I never wanted to harm myself or, harm the babies that I was pregnant with. I never had thoughts like that, but I wasn't bonding with my babies in my tummy. Like, I didn't feel pregnant. And when you're very early on, it's hard because you're not showing, you don't feel the baby. And the only symptoms you have of pregnancy is like normally just feeling so sick. So it's hard to feel pregnant, the good parts of pregnancy in the very beginning. And that's what I wanted so bad, is just to feel something. I just didn't feel anything, and I didn't care. I just was so sick and so depressed. And everywhere I would try to find anything on this, no one talks about prepartum depression. It's not talked about. I tried to find it everywhere. I tried to find who could relate. I tried to find articles that matched what I was feeling, and videos that would talk on it, and just I wanted to feel normal, and I just didn't. I felt so alone, and I felt so detached. I just was really depressed. It was just what depression was when I was first pregnant. And what's hard is you can't tell yourself, you can't snap yourself out of a depression. You can't snap yourself out of anxiety. And a lot of people think you can. I included thought I could just not feel sad, but you can't. It's not possible. What's hard is no matter how excited you are that you're pregnant, how badly you've wanted a baby or 2, you can get depressed. And I think one thing that was really good for me was to know that it wasn't me, and that it was my hormones, and that since I was having 2, my hormones were just doubled. And so I was feeling, every pain, everything was felt doubled, was what my doctor told me. The pain you have is doubled. The sickness you have is doubled. The depression you're feeling is doubled because you have double hormones. You're trying to provide for 2 human beings. Same with as if you're having triplets. It's all tripled. So that was really hard. Was everything that I was feeling was just magnified up until birth. Just everything was, even postpartum, everything has just been double the everything because I had 2. My biggest struggle with depression was prepartum. And then after the first trimester, it really started to clear up. And also getting on a medication helped so much. And then like by December, my 4 months of being pregnant, I was very happy again. The depression was gone. I really worked on it, and the medication helped, but also like coming out of your first trimester, that's like the hardest. And so like just being out of the first trimester helped alone. So my biggest thing was with prepartum depression was just I wanted to talk on it because no one like talks about it. I feel like postpartum is normal to talk on. That's pretty like standard to talk about, but like when you find out you're pregnant, nobody tells you, like if you're pregnant, nobody tells you about prepartum depression. And if you have prepartum depression, you're like more likely to have postpartum depression. So anyway, I just really want to say that if you're pregnant or if you are planning on being pregnant and you're feeling depressed, you are not alone. And it's okay to seek help. It's okay to be on a medication. I was on a medication and I'm actually still on it for my anxiety, which I'll get into, but it's safe for the baby. And the benefits outweigh the risks when taking an antidepressant while you're pregnant. You need to be a happy mom for your babies or baby. I always say babies. I always assume everyone's pregnant with twins. The most important thing is that you're happy and you're healthy, because then that means that your baby is healthy and happy. I just want you to know it's normal. It's okay to talk about. It's not anything to be ashamed of. You might not feel this. My mom didn't feel it, so she couldn't like understand how I was feeling in the moment, but she was there to help me through it, as well as my husband. Make sure you have a great support system. If you don't find one, talk to your therapist, talk to your doctor, because it is so important that you are happy during your pregnancy. Prepartum depression is a real thing, and it's a hard thing, but you can get through it. I got through it. And I did not think I would ever be happy again when I felt like that. It was just, everything was just a dark cloud. Again, I never had any suicidal thoughts, but it was just everything was just dark, depressing. I didn't care about anything. I just like would lay in bed and stare at my ceiling. Like I just was depressed, just was sad and cried all the time. Like all day, every day, would just cry and cry. Anyway, if you're feeling that, find things that make you happy. One time I literally door dashed a baby bottle pop, and that just brought in a little bit, a little tiny sprinkle of happiness for a little bit. But just, I know you probably won't want to, but try your best to do something that will like make you happy, even though you might not want to and feel like you can do it on your own like I did. I thought I could get through it by myself. Don't be stubborn like me. Get help and you'll be okay. So that was my main thing I want to talk about, was prepartum depression. And then I just quickly wanted to talk about postpartum depression. There's two different types of postpartum depression. There's actual postpartum depression and baby blues. And baby blues usually fade away within like the first month. I did have baby blues where it just, again, your hormones are crazy. And so it just kind of like messes with your hormones a little bit. And so it just was a thing of like being sad, and for me it was like not really knowing why I was sad. I think it was just an overwhelming feeling of all of a sudden being a mom and being a mom of two and having two infants, that it just overwhelms you and your hormones kind of go a little bit crazy. So I had the baby blues for maybe a week they've cleared up pretty quickly. I cannot talk on postpartum depression, but I can talk a teensy bit on baby blues, just the feeling of a lot of just overwhelmed and crying and stuff, which is normal. Again, everything is normal. Like I said, I was on a medication already, so I think that also helped me like prevent my postpartum depression. So I have not felt any postpartum depression. But I did want to talk about postpartum anxiety. I am a pretty anxious person. I have been all my life. My whole family suffers from anxiety. I'm probably the most mild in my family. It's just stress, honestly. It affects everybody differently, and for me, it's just feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed. That's kind of how it affects me. So I normally have anxiety, but I recently, and I found out that postpartum depression can come even that like you can be affected by postpartum, like not just a couple months after you give birth, but like well into like several months. So my girls, like I said, will be 5 months on the 12th, and I have been experiencing awful anxiety the past maybe week or so. I picture the most horrible things happening to me or happening to the babies. Mostly us. I don't normally like see things about Carson, but things like we'll get in a car accident, or I'll drop the babies, or like I just see things of them getting hurt or me getting hurt, what I would do to help them, or like it's almost just like this paranoid feeling. Sometimes I have this feeling that like there's like I don't want to like say it because I don't want to like bring life to it, but I have had a few episodes of sleep paralysis, and that was like years ago, like right after I graduated high school in 2015. So I know what sleep paralysis is like, and I know what like, this is like getting very heavy, but I know what like demons feel like when they're there. And so sometimes it feels like they're in my house when they're not, because I don't get a bad feeling, and I know what it's like to have them near me, but it's not that feeling. It's like I see it, like it's like this anxious, like I see it, but it's not real. Just the anxiety that I've been feeling, it's just awful. Nothing in any terms of me, like me personally harming my babies at all. It's more of a fear that that's going to happen. So it's like, hey, like it's more of like, I take it as like, oh, okay, I'll be careful picking them up, taking them to their crib. Like, it's almost like That's So Raven, where it's like future events happening that obviously haven't happened and won't happen because it's just my imagination. But it helps me like be more careful. So like when I'm driving, I'll like see an accident in my head and be like, okay, like I need to focus again, like refocus, drive safe, which again is pretty normal. I can deal with anxiety. Anxiety is something that I can deal with because it doesn't like cripple me. Like I'm still happy, I still move forward, I still get out and do things every day. Whereas depression does completely knock me down. I'm out, I'm done. So anxiety, especially because it's not real, like real things happening, or like they're going to happen, like they won't happen. I know that it's just like my hormones being weird and funky, and it's just a reaction of postpartum, because I've had like thoughts like this before, but nothing like this. So that's one thing that I have been dealing with. That's my experience with prepartum and what I'm experiencing with postpartum. I'm not here to say that I have ever been cured of my anxiety, because I've just always been anxious, but I am cured of my depression, especially like my prepartum depression. I'm so happy, and I love, love, love my life, and I love my cute little twinnies and my husband, and it just has been so wonderful. But I think that it's very important to talk about the real stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and that it's normal to feel these things. And so yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. It got a little bit heavy, but I wanted to kind of keep it short and sweet and simple and to the point, because it just isn't something that needs to be like dragged out by me. I'm still working through it, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but we definitely try to make it. We definitely like make the best of every day. I at least try to. I try to make the best of every day. I just want to say that if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, whether or not you're pregnant, you are not alone, and it's okay, and your feelings are 1,000% valid. It doesn't make you a bad mom, it doesn't make you a bad person. Just know that you can get through anything. You are strong, and it's okay to seek help. It's okay to talk about it. Don't be ashamed of it. And I think the best thing to always keep in your mind is this too shall pass. That is such a wonderful scripture. There are definitely more good days than bad days. And I think if you're having a lot more bad days than normal, that is when you need to be aware of it. And when you're aware of it, then you can definitely do everything you can to change it. Don't go about it alone. There are so many sources that you can go through. There are support groups, there is therapy, there's medication, there's meditation. Like, there is so much that you can do to help yourself, and I am rooting for you, and I am definitely here for you. Thank you all for listening to this story time. I hope what I said can maybe reach out to someone, help you, just because I did not have that help when I was pregnant, and so I'm hoping I can reach someone somewhere. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!